One man is lost in the fog. His friend brings a torch in the night. They walk arm in arm through the dark, guided by one man's sight. One man's sight. Some cannot walk, some cannot see, some cannot speak, some cannot hear, some cannot learn, some cannot think, but all can love, and all can feel, and all can care, and all can change, and all can learn, and all can grow. We are equal in the same. We are equal in the same. We are equal in the same.
Two men were working the land, two farmers making their trade.
And while one was blind, he was still the mind behind the world's best lemonade. His lemonade. Some cannot walk, some cannot see, some cannot speak, some cannot hear, some cannot learn, some cannot think, but all can love, and all can feel, and all can care, and all can change, and all can learn, and all can grow. We are equal in the same. We are equal in the same. We are equal in the same.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Equal in the Same tonight, 927 show 2025. We might have a special surprise tonight for you guys. May not, but we're trying to really get her work herself out so she has an open schedule to come on the show. But that would be Francesca Amata, and she was the author of the Family Justice and Accountability Act, which is going to be held October 20th at Congress. Really excited about the things that have been going on in the last week with all the other different groups. Everybody's really bringing this to the forefront. Today, I spent my day at a rally at a Trump store in regards to Charlie Kirk, and it was a good time. I met a lot of great people who wanted to hear our stories and were looking for a remedy. And this was actually people who are running now to be candidates for different positions in our state government, which again, the biggest thing I got out of it is if we want to make change, guys, we need to start running for positions in our town. I don't even care if it's on the library committee. You're getting your voices heard to bring back in our constitutional facts. And again, we can blame our four parents. Everybody let it slip since the early, 60s, I would say. We've allowed the government to take it all over. But my thought was tonight, I was going to first start off. I really want to share this Family Justice and Accountability Act short introduction, if it's possible. I'm hoping this is the right link I'm doing. Hold on a minute. I don't know what just happened. Where did I go to, guys? I believe this is
pretty
it.
dense top.
Am I back here? So I want to share. How come it's not allowing me to use Windows? Live studio, media player. That's what I want. So now I go here. Bear with me, guys. I'm learning all this.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge into some.
Sorry, it's going to be an audio only.
Pull out the key insights and basically give you a shortcut to being really informed.
That's the goal.
So today we're tackling something complex, definitely sensitive: the U.S. family court and child welfare systems.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Our main source material is this proposed bill called the Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025. It's authored by Francesca Amato.
And it's not just theory, right? It draws on, what, over 17 years of advocacy?
Exactly. Advocacy and firsthand experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really aimed at addressing what the author sees as deep systemic failures in these systems.
Okay.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack this thing. It's a detailed document, and we want to distill what it's really saying, what its implications might be.
Make it understandable.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this.
Sounds good.
So the bill kicks off by pointing out this really stark contrast. It says family courts were supposed to be, compassionate, rehabilitative, child-centered.
The ideal picture.
Yeah, always putting the best interests of children first. That sounds, well, good.
It does, but then the bill immediately flips to what it calls the reality. It claims that in practice, these courts have repeatedly and systemically failed to do that.
Fail how?
Well, it goes further. It argues they've actually become, and this is a direct quote, engines of trauma, injustice, and state-sponsored family destruction.
Wow. Okay. That's incredibly strong language. How does the bill, back that up? What specific systemic failures does it actually point to?
It lays out a few key things. First, a major lack of transparency and public oversight. Court proceedings are often sealed, right? Oh. And the bill claims this leads to unchecked judicial discretion. Basically, judges doing whatever they want without scrutiny.
And potential rights violations.
Exactly. Violations of constitutional rights, civil rights, and it specifically calls out the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
Okay. Transparency is one. What else?
Second, it talks about perverse economic motivations. This is pretty controversial.
How so?
It alleges that federal money, especially from Title IV of the Social Security Act.
That's the funding for state child welfare.
Right. That funding, plus laws like ASFA, the Adoption and Safe Families Act from '97.
Which speeds up terminating parental rights.
Yes. The bill claims these things actually create incentives to separate children from perfectly fit, loving parents.
Incentives for separation. That's counterintuitive.
It's a central argument in the bill. And there's a third finding that's really concerning.
Go on.
It asserts that protective parents, especially mothers, often get penalized. They're called uncooperative or alienating if they report abuse.
While the alleged abuser might get custody.
Or unsupervised visits. Yeah, that's the claim. Abusers rewarded, protective parents punished.
Okay, this is getting really interesting and pretty disturbing. What about Child Protective Services, CPS? The bill singles them out too, right?
It does. The findings there are just as critical. It alleges CPS frequently leaves children in abusive environments.
So failing to protect.
While also unjustly removing children from fit homes. So errors in both directions, basically.
Which just makes things worse.
According to the bill, yes. Exacerbating harm and perpetuating systemic failures. It argues the agencies meant to help are part of the problem.
Does it offer any evidence for that?
It cites quite a bit of social science research. Things like the Adverse Childhood Experiences, ACEs, studies, Saunders, Myers. Research showing that separating kids from their main caregivers causes severe and long-lasting trauma.
Okay, so that paints a picture of the problems the bill identifies. Let's shift to the solutions. How does it propose fixing this? Immunity seems like a big one.
A huge one. The bill flat out argues judicial immunity is not found in the U.S. Constitution.
Not in the Constitution?
Nope. It says immunity was basically created by the courts themselves through case law. It points to Bradley v. Fisher, 1872.
And the effect is?
That it puts judges above the law, essentially. That's the bill's interpretation.
So what's the fix?
Simple, according to the bill. Eliminate it. Get rid of immunity for judges, attorneys, CPS workers, and court-appointed professionals.
Meaning they could actually be sued or prosecuted.
Right, for legal violations. Civil liability, criminal liability, it makes them personally accountable in a way they really aren't now.
What kind of penalties are we talking about? Jail time, fines, losing their jobs?
All of the above, potentially. The bill mentions criminal prosecution, including imprisonment if harm occurs, civil liability, so families can sue for damages, and yes, termination.
And who exactly does this apply to? Just judges and lawyers?
No, it casts a really wide net. It says all individuals, agencies, and entities involved in removal, custody, foster care,
It's okay.
adoption,
I'm just
public or
playing
private.
So everyone.
Pretty much.
clip
They
right
shall be
now. I'll
subject
talk
to
a little bit
full
more.
civil and
Hopefully you can
criminal
come in for a
liability
little bit.
harm or rights violations. It even includes foster parents, adoptive parents, and healthcare professionals if they knowingly contribute to wrongful removal or concealment.
Okay.
Gunner
Let's
got
talk
me up
about
and
law
going.
enforcement. Their motto is usually to protect and serve. How does the bill view their role in all this?
Well, the bill finds that police have increasingly become just agents of court orders participating in removals.
Even if the orders might be flawed.
That's the implication. It says they often participate in the unlawful seizure of children and explicitly states officers are not immune from liability when they act outside of constitutional bounds or fail to intervene against known harm.
Wow. It even uses the phrase child trafficking pipelines in relation to their role.
It does. It suggests that by enforcing certain orders without sufficient scrutiny, they can inadvertently aid these alleged pipelines.
So what does this all mean for a police officer on the ground if this passed?
Big changes. They'd have to verify orders are actually legal and constitutional first. Is there a proper warrant? Was due process followed? Is there ADA accommodation? Is there really clear and present danger with actual evidence?
That's a lot more responsibility.
It is. And mandatory annual training to constitutional law, ADA, trauma-informed practices, whistleblower protections.
And that old line, I was just doing my job.
The bill says that shall no longer shield misconduct. Pretty direct.
Okay, accountability for individuals is clear. What about system-wide transparency beyond just law enforcement?
Yeah, the bill pushes hard on that. It mandates body cameras and public record access for basically all family court and child welfare personnel.
So everything's recorded and potentially public.
That's the idea. And it has this thing called the gold standard of transparency. Officials have to use their real, full legal names, no aliases, public disclosure of all identities used.
No hiding behind initials or anything.
Right, full identification.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. People often complain about the Department of Justice, the DOJ, saying they lack resources to investigate complaints like civil rights issues. Does the bill address that?
Oh, absolutely. It calls that response essentially an excuse. It declares the DOJ's failure to investigate complaints, ADA, civil rights, constitutional violations in family courts is a direct failure to uphold the laws they are mandated to enforce.
Strong words for the DOJ. Does it propose consequences?
It does. Things like congressional oversight hearings, civil penalties against the department, and significantly, it grants citizen and advocate standing.
Meaning regular people could sue the DOJ.
To compel them to act, yes. To force an investigation into alleged misconduct within the family court system.
Okay, let's talk about restitution. Making things right for families who the bill says were harmed. It mentions really devastating outcomes.
Yeah, it finds that decades of misapplication of family court discretion have led to catastrophic harm. It lists things like physical and sexual abuse, wrongful separation, suicides, and deaths of children. Just awful alleged consequences.
Truly heartbreaking. So what does the bill propose for compensation?
Substantial financial compensation. Compensatory damages covering emotional pain, physical harm, lost family connection, even lost education and job opportunities.
And for the kids specifically.
It mandates fully funded college or vocational education for children who were wrongfully removed or harmed. A chance to rebuild, maybe?
And I noticed something about the statute of limitations.
Right. No statute of limitations for child sexual abuse claims, or in cases where there were coercion or gag orders preventing people from speaking out.
That acknowledges how long it can take for trauma to surface or for people to feel safe reporting.
Exactly. And speaking of things that silence victims, the bill takes a really strong stance against parental alienation syndrome, PAS.
PAS. That's a controversial one. What's the bill's take?
It calls PAS and similar concepts debunked theories. It claims they're used specifically to discredit abuse disclosures made by children or protective parents.
And it connects this to custody outcomes.
Directly. It alleges these theories lead to wrongful custody reversals in over 58,000 cases annually in the U.S., often putting kids, it says, at serious risk.
So what does the bill propose regarding PAS? Ban it.
It mandates that courts cannot rely on PAS or similar theories unless there's clear and convincing evidence of actual intentional harm or coaching by the parent. It's a much higher bar.
That seems like a major shift. What about the broader view of children's rights in the bill?
It's quite explicit. It affirms children are legal persons, not property. They have independent rights, especially to safety and stability.
Not property. That's significant phrasing.
It is. And it makes a crucial distinction about neglect. It says neglect, if it's unintentional or related to circumstances like poverty, shall not serve as lawful grounds for child removal.
So poverty alone isn't grounds for removal.
Not according to this bill. Only substantiated abuse proven with clear and convincing evidence should warrant taking a child. That redefines the threshold for state intervention significantly.
And the bill links forced separation directly to health outcomes, right? Citing research.
It does, very directly. It says forced separation from a biological parent causes significant and well-documented trauma. It compares PTSD rates in these kids to combat veterans.
Combat veterans, that's
Yeah.
staggering.
Yeah. And it links this trauma to long-term developmental harm, disrupted attachment, depression, suicidal ideation. Very serious consequences.
And it mentions foster care statistics too.
Right. That more than 80% of foster children suffer from a significant mental health issue, which qualifies them as disabled under the ADA.
80%.
And also that they're over 7x more likely to be sexually abused in foster care compared to the general population. Grin statistics used to bolster the argument against unnecessary removal.
What's fascinating here is the connection the bill makes between that trauma, disability, and the ADA and family court. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. So the trauma itself can cause disabilities, right? Mental health issues, PTSD. The bill emphasizes that family courts must comply with the ADA for these children and also for disabled parents or caregivers.
How does that play out practically?
It says removing a disabled child from their main caregiver is strictly prohibited unless every reasonable modification, accommodation, and support service has been tried first, identified, offered, and exhausted.
So keep the child home with support, if at all possible.
Exactly. It cites the Olmsted Supreme Court decision about providing services in the most integrated setting. Here, that means keeping disabled kids with their families whenever feasible.
Okay, beyond individual rights and definitions, are there changes to how the courts actually operate, the procedures?
Yes,
You
a
know
couple of
you're doing
really
that
big
dance in the
ones.
bed
First,
tonight.
the reinstatement of jury trials in family court matters involving the loss of custodial rights.
Jury trials, family court.
For cases where a parent could lose custody, yes.
Hey, in my
Jury
show right
hears
now,
making that decision,
playing
not
a
just
video
the
clip. I
judge.
can't
That's a
talk long.
fundamental change.
I'll talk to you when I'm
What
done
else?
after 9,
Creation of independent family justice
9:30 or
oversight
so,
committees.
or tomorrow.
These would include civilian members, providing outside accountability for the courts and agencies.
So, more eyes on the system. Are there other major reforms we should touch on? It seems like a really comprehensive bill.
It really is. There are several more significant pieces.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, it calls for the full repeal of the Adoption and Safe Families Act of 1997, ASFA.
You mentioned that earlier. Why repeal it entirely?
The bill argues ASFA leads to unjust and premature termination of parental rights and has basically created a profit-driven child welfare industry. So get rid of the financial driver is the idea.
Okay, what's next?
Then there's the abolition of foreign legal influence, specifically mentioning the BAR, the British Accreditation Registry.
The Bar R Association. What's the issue there?
The bill asserts the practice of law is a right of the people, not something controlled by a, quote, foreign or private registry. It cites an old case, Sims v. Aarons, saying law is an occupation of common right. It's arguing against the bar's authority over lawyers in the U.S.
That's quite a fundamental challenge to the legal profession structure.
It is indeed. Then there's the prohibition of bonding and commodification of families.
Bonding, like financial bonds.
Sort of. This part is very specific. The bill alleges children's placements are sometimes assigned CUSIP numbers identifiers usually used for financial securities.
Wait, treating kids like stocks?
That's the provocative claim,
Yeah.
that it turns kids into commodities. The bill wants to ban any financial instruments tied to custody outcomes, calling it akin to human trafficking or racketeering under auto laws. No CUSIP numbers for kids.
Okay, that's a very specific and serious allegation. Anything else?
Yes. Elimination of anonymous reporting to CPS. Reports would need full identification, signed under penalty of perjury.
Why?
To deter false or malicious reports, the bill argues. Increase accountability for those making accusations.
Makes sense. And one more.
Finally, the prohibition of unconstitutional gag orders. These are orders that stop parents from speaking publicly about their cases.
Which happens quite often.
Yeah. Yes. The bill calls these gag orders a First Amendment violation and a form of psychological, emotional, and reputational abuse. It wants to ban them.
So, looking at this whole thing, It's striking how often the bill says it's not a new law. You keep saying it's just about enforcing the laws we already have, fighting for rights we already have.
Exactly. That's the philosophical underpinning. The argument isn't necessarily for new rights, but for the system to actually respect and uphold the existing constitutional and human rights of children and parents.
The claim is the system has drifted away from those fundamental principles.
Precisely. And this bill is presented as the way to force it back into alignment.
Well, we've certainly taken a deep dive into this proposed Family Justice and Accountability Act. It is incredibly comprehensive. I mean, from getting rid of immunity for judges and officials.
Right, to totally restructuring child welfare funding.
And changing court procedures,
right,
redefining rights. It touches everything.
Yeah. And I think what's really at the core, as the bill itself puts it, is trying to build a system that values truth, transparency, disability accommodation, and human dignity.
And its stated goal is pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
Ending what it calls state-sanctioned trauma.
A massive goal, yeah. Whether it could achieve that is another question, but that's the vision.
It is. So for you listening, here's something to think about, a final thought. What would the world of family courts and child welfare look like if these kinds of sweeping changes, all framed as enforcing existing rights, were actually put into practice?
Wow.
How might that really shift the power dynamics, for kids and parents all across the country?
That is awesome, guys. That's one simple question, I believe. And that's why I believe this bill is going to go somewhere. If not, we're at least giving you evidence in a proper way that backs case law and backs fact to our Congress people. So that's going to lead me to my next question to you guys. We still could use your support. You can join Family Justice Accountability Act 2025 in your state, because we have state chapters pretty much in every state. There's a few that are missing. If you want to be team lead, if you find that there isn't one on Facebook, that's where we would be, willing to get a hold of you. But every Wednesday there is a Zoom meeting at 7:30, and you can listen in. And this is real action. This is real time. And we're not the only ones that are doing it. I don't want to say that I'm part of something super, super special. Everybody is kicking down the door. And from what I'm hearing, everyone is getting such great response from the Trump administration and the new team players. The players know what's going on up at the Congress. They want to know the remedy. They want to know how to fix the system. And I think this bill is a very great start to open up a great dialogue to fixing the system. If not, I would argue too that it should be left alone and they can't amend anything in it, because you amend one section of the bill, you're going to screw up the whole intent and theory of it. Last I knew, it was, I think, over 85 pages or maybe close to 90 pages of fact of law. And again, I'm trying to be the lead in Utah. Well, again, you can just write what plants. You can just write Francesca Amata. And again, if you don't see it on that link, you can always come to Connecticut's website. I run that Facebook. I'd be willing to bring you in as long as you're willing to work out of your state, because the point of working out of your state, or where your case might be, because we have a lot of parents that have multiple states too, that these states absolutely destroy the families through that way. And they contract their services out through other states, which I believe is unconstitutional. So again, we're really trying to do this stuff, and we're trying to do it the right way. But what you can do as a favor to me and to Francesca, a 2-minute simple video. That's all we need. You can send it to me. You can find me on Facebook, but I prefer you just go to Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025 Connecticut chapter. If not, you go into your own state chapter and just say Henry sent you. That's all you got to say. I got a big mouth. I don't have a problem. And again, because what my feeling is Francesca's bill is the only bill that truly picks up the ADA. And what I'm trying to teach you guys, that your due process rights, or your child's due process rights, or your spouse's rights, or in cases I've even heard of them telling you're a bad dad because you don't recognize the disabilities of the mother. I thought we're not supposed to discriminate against people's disabilities, and we're not supposed to put people down for what they are, and believe in the fact that we all bring something special to the table. But again, with the ADA, it makes it simpler. You don't have to try to figure out law. Congress wrote it in basic language, which again I explained it in the previous shows. And again, it's something that you're just going to have to dig into yourself and check it out. But your first advice would be to go to your, again, ada.gov, put in your state, find out your settlement agreements, find out who the actors and players are involved, and make contact and scream, "I've been discriminated against." That's all you should need, is a X made out of crayon, because again, this was created for people with IQs of 69 or less. So when you read the ADA, it's simple, plain language. And remember, they must give you prophylactic protections with the strictest scrutiny on your disability to help assist to try to level the playing fields, and not to have your disability as the forefront of the problem. Because I don't get how they can say your disability is the problem and you shouldn't have your kids, or we're going to put some restrictions on you. It's not fair. These people are typically discriminated throughout their whole life. Hello, Brenda.
Hello.
How are we?
You were just talking about how they're actually, after my kids were taken, they wanted to say that me and my husband didn't recognize that my daughter had delays. She had autism, even though, the records would show that we've already been, taking care of that medically and everything. But my husband would refer to the children as a genius. And that's why they believe we shouldn't be calling, and they think we should act somewhat different. The child wants to be treated like any normal other child would want to be treated. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. Again, Wet Plants, please send me an email. I'll make sure that you get in touch with Stacy, so you know where to go. The Florida group. Stacy's.
I can answer some of that too.
Go ahead, my brother. Wait. Everyone should know. Congratulations, Gunner is a grandpa.
Well, anyway, actually Francesca looks like has joined in. Here,
Did she bring her in? Oh my God, I would love to have her.
The reason for that, or the reason for the Disability Act of this and that, a lot had to do with the closing of under the Ronald Reagan administration, they closed the sanitariums. And the concept was with the violent abuse of the sanitariums of those people that were in the sanitariums, as well as women that were there that were considered insane for going some of the things. You can go down that path yourself. But the concept under the Reagan administration was normalizing those type of people to fit in our own society and our communities. So as Brenda was saying, we want to raise our child to live normal amongst the rest of the population.
Correct.
Was the goal of Ronald Reagan closing the sanitariums, and that big shift in the psychological community, as well as the mental health, as well as the physical community, those that had those particular disabilities, was passing those things of trying to normalize them as they are still human, they are still citizens, and they need to find a way to accommodate them to make them a productive part of society, which was part of closing the sanitariums and behind some of the things with Ronald Reagan. But then some of the actions after that, with the monies that were lost in the sanitariums, which is where you see, we're gonna suspend them to the communities. Well, now we have to have something to police that, which is not the way it should be. Once again, that goes against.
No, it should be family, immediate family and friends caring for that person with a disability.
Yes,
give them the appropriate access to their community, because you cannot segregate somebody and again keep them away from their family just for having a disability. We don't run around and laugh at people who are blind. So why should we be laughing at somebody who might not be up to speed or as quick? Because again, like I gave the example, your skills over my skills in the law, our skills over what Francesca has. That's what makes us so great. But let's bring her in, because I know she's on a time limit.
She's here. I don't know if you can hear her, Francesca.
She's going to stay dark tonight because she's in her car right now. I
can't hear her. Just if she wanted to speak up, make sure she wasn't on mute. But she is in here.
Francesca,
think-
come on in.
It's kind of
I was trying to
different.
unmute
Oh, there she
myself.
is.
We got you
I'm
now.
so
What was
sorry.
that? You guys...
I was trying to unmute myself, and the more I pressed it, it would not unmute. I'm sorry.
Beautiful. Welcome,
You're good.
Francesca Amano, the owner of Punish for Protecting Inc.
I've read over Francesca's bill, and I've talked with Francesca several times, personally, of what some of the bills and everything else, and I agree with her 100%. We don't need new laws. We don't need new this or that. We need to enact what's on the books, and one of the first things I'll agree with 100% is the Constitution. Why are we not enforcing this?
Exactly.
Well, I think somebody has their mute off too, and it's giving a lot of backfeed.
Let me try.
Because I did hear you, but it was a lot of backfeed.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound nice and clear.
Hi, Francis.
Hi. How are you? I'm sorry. I'm in my car and it's dark. That's why I don't have my camera on.
It's fine. But yeah, I mean, just listening to that and talking to Francesca even before, we don't need a new committee. We don't need this. We don't need that. I will agree 100%. One, we just need to follow the Constitution. There's the first thing. But once again, as what it was said in one of the courtrooms I was in by one of the magistrates, we don't deal with constitutional law in there. We can only adjudicate off of statutes and codes. Well, if that's true, then you're automatically violating your oath that says, I will uphold the Constitution. It's a conflict of interest. And I think that's the biggest thing is if we respected constitutional rights, like the courts should be, and enforce them and having a way for people to report these people. But this is something I think I've talked with several people on different aspects is how are you going to get any justice with the Bar Association, especially when judges sit on committees for the bar to when you do report a lawyer or a judge or magistrate, you're going to the same broken system to look for like an internal system to look for justice.
Yeah, that was the beginning of my problem when after I already filed, then I found out that the judge is going to know that you did that. Okay.
Hey, can we let Francesca go? Because I know she's only got about 10, 15
go ahead.
minutes to give
I'm
me.
okay. I'm okay. I allotted a little bit of time, so I'm okay. But, I'm going to be teaching an entire history that precedes where this all began. It's even preceding where this all began during the congressional hearing on October 20th. So then people are going to really see what a violation of constitutional, not just constitutional, but the Articles of Human Rights, and of course, my favorite topic, the Americans with Disability Act. So there's so many violations in these fake courts. And even when Trump went through 34 fake felony charges, whatever they tried to come up with, and that was out of my state. It was so insane. They even the professional lawyers that surrounded him, that fought for him, they even said that they can't strip the immunity because it is they were trying to say that was unconstitutional, but in reality it really is unconstitutional when it comes to family court. And I'm going to show every single layer because they did not precede the history of where the foundation started from. When you realize that there's no actual foundation for this because it was never voted in by the people, so they began usurping our authority. And then people just kind of went with it all these years. That's the problem. So everybody wants to change laws, make new laws. This one's law, that one's law. And it doesn't do any good long term because number one, the judges aren't applying it because they're in violation of those three prongs, the Constitution, the Articles of Human Rights, and the Americans with Disability Act. And that's why their attorneys don't fight for that. And that's why they keep this game going. This is a game that they've been playing for many decades. So what we're doing is with the Family Justice and Accountability Act, we're stripping them of immunity because it's not there legally in the first place. And I'm going to show that. And that's the reason I'm doing this bill very differently. There's multiple reasons, but I'm doing it very differently than most people have ever presented or enacted a bill. I'm bringing the people with me. No one's ever done that before. I got a congressional hearing room. I got a sponsor. I'm not sharing the location. I'm not sharing the address yet until we're real close to the date, because we're already being attacked by some crazies. And it's the smartest way to go is just to be real safe for everybody right now. Yeah, we got, you always have those people.
That seems to follow, doesn't it, Francesca? Is we always have the ones that come through of, that wave the flag and everything else that they've got on of what a good thing this is. And obviously they've never, as I tell people, that's one side of the coin. I says, but you got to understand there's the other thing that's still available that I believe Trump is working on right now is called the Charlie Kirk Act, is to remove all propaganda. That this is all propaganda that the family courts and CPS promotes. That this is, we're right there, we're in the name of the children. But when you look at the facts, both nationally and statewide, they only take and do according to what they have, that they only help out of every 100 families, only 17 families out of 100 do they actually help or something substantiated. That means that they have intruded and destroyed over 83 different, or should I, about 83% of families' lives that they have destroyed with the way they come in and their process and everything else to destroy people. But they're saying substantiated. That doesn't mean everyone they haven't conned into their services, though. There's the other thing, because it's all about the money in the services.
Well, that's where they're violating the due process and not leveling the field if they don't want to comply with the ADA. And this is the way they can funnel the services to their friends. And instead of a parent need, let's just say $50,000 worth of program services and activities, it now turns into a $400,000 open billable situation.
I'm glad you brought that up, because do we not have laws in this country that prohibit monopolies? Let alone their buddies that are state contractors, they have a monopoly. Look at your child advocacy centers in every county. There's not multiple.
They're all associated. Every one of them
that is a monopoly, and that is against the law, even though they're government contractors.
Right.
Right there violates the law right there. Freedom to choose. And once again, you have to use our services.
But what I wanted to say is, Francesca, if you don't speak, Debbie Anderson just said hello to you. And we have a person on the site, it's called Wet Plant. So I'm asking her to send you a Facebook request tonight, because she's looking to pick up, I think it was Utah. I can't go back and scroll through the messages, but she's been trying to get a hold of you to get a hold of Utah covered.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we do have a team lead for Utah, but that's fine. But they can still come in. But
I could be wrong, but again, she's naming the right people, and she's reached out, and she just wants to advocate a little bit more.
That would be great. The more people we can use, the more people, the better. So
her thing is messed up.
Yeah, they're just that horrible back here. Like I can hardly hear you guys. There's all kinds of noise. I don't know.
I just got new fiber in my house, so I don't know. Is it when I speak, guys?
It just sounds like a bunch of static and noise and backfeed, and like everybody's got their mute off while one other person is talking, and I don't know what the audience hears, but it doesn't sound good from my end.
Hey, something's wrong with Francisco's mic.
Do you want me to hang up and come back?
You're just broken probably because you're on a cell. If you're in your car, you're probably just fading in and out amongst towers is all, Francesca.
I said she should go in and out.
She can give it a try, yeah. I mean, it's worth a shot. Or there she goes.
Yeah, but guys, I mean, seriously, and I'm not putting nobody's down, and I know everybody's trying. Even we got Darren trying. We just gotta face the facts here. That the more we speak up and the more we can do, but at least I'm telling you, on the 20th, it don't matter. If you create a video, you send it to us, we will get you up there and playing in front of Congress. Again, we're looking for people with children that have been through the system that are a little older now or aged out of the system. People who have been through CPS, DCF, in my case, is the state, or in my situation, dealing with the school systems and Department of Developmental Services.
There she is. Let's see how this works. Okay, try again there, Francesca. You there?
Okay, it's not as bad, but I still hear like really weird back feed. I don't know. If
Yeah, I
people are
turn
still.
off my mic. It doesn't make a difference.
It's really weird. I don't know. I know that whenever I do these, I have to have everybody mute, and when one person's speaking, everybody's got to mute, and
Right.
then take turns. But that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing back feed. Now I don't hear it all of a sudden. It just went away. Okay.
Did he come back now that I'm talking?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, can you tell us what we can do to help as newbies to the group, to your league, if they like what we're preaching? And guys, I've read the bill. I'm one of the few that was in the beginning, and I had to sign a release, so I can't share it with you. But I'm telling you, as soon as I get the release date, you got it. When you're going to be blown away. This is not a mistake to make a simple 2-minute video for us. Get it to one of our state chapters, and we'll get you up and going. Participate. Call your senators. Call your legislators. Ask them to support the Family Justice and Accountability Act on October 20th. You want to see them down in the room, the hearing room.
Yeah, and to
Real
let you guys
simple.
know, I have 2 women boots on the ground in DC right now, hand delivering beautiful invitations to all the Congress members. I have a lot of RSVPs from a lot of different Congress members. I'm not giving the names, obviously, same reason. I'm being very, very smart about this. I can tell people exactly like what we're doing and why we're doing it so differently than most people would. I'm hearing that noise again. I'm sorry. That most people would try to push a bill. The whole point behind this was so that all these families can get the healing that they need, so they can all participate together as one big giant. And that's part of it. So I have all these people, 50 states filled with volunteers and team leads and just families. A lot of people will be able to speak at the podium, but I encourage people to come even if they can't speak at the podium, because you should be supporting this, period. This is what's going to save the lives of countless families and end it for generations to come. I've made sure that in my almost 18 years of doing this work, because I've been wanting it over forever, that there's not anything I left out of this bill. I made sure every single bit of corruption is going to be handled, and handled with the law, the way it's supposed to be, not what they've been doing. Enforcing the electoral laws that we have. So by everyone coming, we're going to have, national media attention. We're going to be live streamed off of Jersey News, which has like millions of viewers, if you ever seen Chris Lyle's page. So that's going to be live streamed all day. And then Congress members, so even if you're not at the podium, you're going to be a part of a monumental and historic day where Congress comes to you in a congressional hearing room instead of you having to beg them. And it's going to have a full education from soup to nuts. So you're going to be learning so much that day as well. It's going to be like truth bombs coming. One truth bomb after another sets you free. And seeing just how wrong this is, there's no way that anybody could deny that this bill will need to be enacted immediately, with hardly any time to waste, because we've got children dying every day thanks to family court judges. So I did it this way, where I also have Congress members willing to sponsor the bill. Okay, it doesn't have a number because I haven't formally presented it yet. We're doing this together. I didn't have to do it this way. I could have did it by myself, but I chose to bring everybody together so they can have a chance to fight for their families for the future. And so it's never been done this way before. It's never, ever, and no bill has ever been done this way before. And that's why, you should be there whether or not you're able to speak at the podium.
Sorry.
So, yeah. And the other thing is that you may have an interview with one of the media there. You'll be able to speak to Congress members. Irregardless, it's still going to benefit you. Just your presence there and showing how many families have been negatively infected by family court and CPS and the rest is something very, very powerful. We should be there. We should show up. The only thing that should stop you is sickness. That's about it. Otherwise, I would drag myself there. You know what I mean? I'd do anything I can to get there.
Yeah. So I'm personally going to invite anyone that wants to join our Zoom meeting this Wednesday, which again, they just join a state chapter. They'll get the link to the Zoom meeting, no security codes. We start at 7:30, and again, just put in your state you're in, your full name, and whether you're new or you want to be a volunteer, or how can we help you? Because again, it's pretty powerful meetings Francesca's been having. And I'm telling you, they run about 4 hours, guys. I had to give up the other night at 11:30 at night. But anyways, we got another show coming up. It's going to be Sam. So again, if you guys can check in and check out her show soon. And Francesca, I really appreciate you doing this for me. I want a date where me and you can sit and talk down about the ADA anytime.
Yeah. Francisca, I've sent you a video of my daughter, but I'm going to send you the transcript of it because it's very important to know this autistic girl was crying out for help and nobody listened.
Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you, Henry.
Appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next Saturday. Gunnar, we'll see you tomorrow night on your show.
Absolutely. We'll be picking up with the next part of the series. We are covering foundational documents, and we're going to pick up where we left off on the Declaration of Independence.
I look forward to that.
Behind the world's best lemonade, his lemonade. Some cannot walk, some cannot see, some cannot speak, some cannot hear, some cannot learn, some cannot think, but all can love, and all can feel, and all can care, and all can change, and all can learn, and all can grow. We are equal in the same. We are equal in the same. We are equal in the same.
CPS took my neighbor's kids last week. Here's what I wish she knew beforehand. She had no clue what her rights were and completely panicked. That's exactly what you can't do. The difference between keeping your kids and losing them comes down to being prepared. There's this book, Stay Calm, CPS is Coming, that breaks down everything you need to know. Education isn't just power, it's protection. Grab it on Amazon or check cpsbreakingnews.com. Don't wait until it's your door they're knocking on.